Hello, I'm Manisha Tank, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this webinar with AlgoDynamix. We're looking at what's next in Asia. I want to introduce you to our two panelists today. We have Paul Lee-Simion, who is the Managing Director for Asia of AlgoDynamix. Paul, hey, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really enthused about this webinar.
Me too. It's great to be here. And then we have Jeremy Sosabowski, who is the CEO and co-founder of AlgoDynamix. Jeremy, thanks so much for joining us. And I know you're far away from where we are.
Great to be everybody, indeed. We're dialing in from the UK, so delightful to be joining everybody today.
Absolutely brilliant. I'm so glad that we can go international. Well, look, we've got lots to get through. I'm going to start my clock and begin with you, Paul, because you are a pretty new addition to AlgoDynamix here in Asia, and there's a really good reason for us for that. Just walk us through it.
Yes, first let me say I'm absolutely delighted that Jeremy could join us from London. I know it's pretty early in London. And Jeremy asked me to come on board with AlgoDynamix a couple of months ago. And I was saying, why should I? What's really driving AlgoDynamix? And AlgoDynamix is reimagining the financial market forecasting. And I said, what does that mean? And basically Jeremy said, well, we're doing things differently. What AlgoDynamix is doing is taking the current market behavior and real-time data, and it's giving insights on the market based on the current market behavior and nothing else. And that to me was, when people talk about reimagining, that was really reimagining.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, that's something we haven't really encountered before. Jeremy, let me take it to you, because it would be great to hear a little bit about the background to AlgoDynamix. I've been reading up about this, and we talk about deep data insight here. What do some of these terms actually mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Manisha. So just reiterating Paul's point of view about, the behavioral side of the market. So I think first things first, I do want to step back slightly, just give a bit more context about, how did we get there and what's our history. And then first things first, our first customer was actually in Asia about 5 or 6 years ago. So, we've been there, done that. And our technical co-founder, Wei, is also from Asia. So, a long history going back already. So I think that's the first bit. We started the company about 6 years ago now. So we're both graduates from Cambridge, myself and Wei, and academics background. Wei was in banking before that, so he was at Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, all designing their risk systems. And as I said, we met about 6 years ago, and we thought there was something fundamentally wrong with the way forecasting was done, because most of the forecasting prediction is just looking at past data and sort of trying to infer something from the past. And as we'll see in the next few slides, and even more so with the COVID situation, the present or the future does not look like the past. So that's always been the cornerstone here at AlgoDynamix. It's just sort of doing things differently, and I think that's why Paul is so excited to join us. So just a bit more history. So that was about 6 years ago, and then since then we've been growing. I'll just briefly go through the slides here. So we got some venture capital funding from Amadeus Capital Partners, the local venture capitalists here in the UK, and from there on we've been going on to program. The Accenture FinTech Lab is also on that slide. That was about 2 years ago. BBVA, that was the finalist. UBS Future of Finance. So we've been winning awards after awards after awards. And then this year it was the top 100 in the Wealth Tech Index. So we've just been going from strength to strength. And then, new more customers all along the way, basically. So that's roughly the history. And as I said, we're really pleased that Paul is now joining us on the Asia side. So he's going to grow things enormously from there. So very, very exciting times, and very much looking forward to a very bright future with Paul and his team in Asia.
Well, I have to say, Jeremy, if anyone looks you up on the internet, they find plenty of content where you've been talking about what AlgoDynamix has been able to do. And in particular, I remember one where you talk about AlgoDynamix picking up anomalies in FTSE indices. We'll come back to some of the instruments that you guys monitor, or you enable others to monitor. But Paul, you also have a very interesting history here in Asia. Just tell us a little bit about your journey to this point.
Yeah, I've been in the financial markets, IT industry since before Big Bang, longer than I care to remember. I used to have a beard, I used to have some hair on my head at that time. I ran dealing rooms. I've written risk systems, market data systems, equity derivative systems. And then about 10 years ago, I decided to move to Asia. And in Asia, I've basically been looking at wealth and insurance type systems. And the reason for that is the innovation and the dynamics we've got in Asia. It's really, really an exciting place. And during that time in looking at data, looking at wealth, looking at pension funds, looking at investments, insurance. I've been working in Hong Kong. I've been working in Northern China. I'm now back in Singapore. It's been a fantastic journey, and it's been absolutely amazing how the IT has developed, how we're doing things new. But what I've never come across is something like AlgoDynamix, because in hindsight, if we did it the way AlgoDynamix is doing it, and I had this opportunity to do it that way 30, 40 years ago, it would have made my life so much easier.
Okay, so what actually is it? What is the core of what AlgoDynamix can do for its Asian customers?
Okay. I'll probably take that one actually, Manisha. So we've just shown you an example here on the gold slide. So Paul sort of alluded to in the beginning already, you know, what we're doing is forecasting. So this is an example from our platform, and this is monitoring gold. Gold has been very topical recently because of the situation, you know, the unknown global economic conditions. So, you know, gold is one of our numerous asset classes and instruments we monitor. So just showing you on the platform, that's what it does. So what the analytics provides is directional insights. So it tells our customers, usually traders, portfolio managers, you know, risk hedging people, it tells our customers what to expect moving forward. So it provides the directional flags. You can probably see this, you know, on the slide here. So the U1 is the directional up flag, and then U2 is another directional up flag. So that's what we do. We provide directional insights about what to expect in the financial markets. So that's on that one. And just to clarify from this slide really, so you know, you get your flags, you have time to think about it. So if you look at the end flag on E4, for instance, you know, you had your end flag on the 24th of July, and you know, you could have had your meeting, you could have decided, you know, you had a few days to decide what we're doing, and that's the essence of our product, is sort of giving our clients the additional information, the overlays they need to decide what they want to do with their trading and their portfolios. This is just one example of what we're doing in gold, and we cover many asset classes. I'll cover this in a second, but this is just one example, Manisha, of what we provide to our clients.
So let's absolutely clarify this then.
Yes.
It's not that you're telling your clients what to do, but you are opening up a window of opportunity for your clients. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So we know we're giving them insights, you know, the foresight reimagined, as Paul was saying, you know, we're telling them what's happening in real time in the markets behaviorally, and then they can decide what to do with it. So it's augmenting, it's giving them additional information about, you know, what to do, because just based on what's happening in the financial market. So very, very powerful analytics forecasting. That's what we're doing here at AlgoDynamix.
Right. So Paul, I mean, I'm guessing that this is something that Asia really hasn't seen before. We know that AlgoDynamix has been very successful in some of its other markets, but is this something completely new for this region?
It's totally new for this region. It's absolutely new for the whole world. There's been lots of people who've tried, wouldn't say try to do it, the traditional way of doing this is to get lots and lots of data and try to put pattern match the data, try to look at everything which has happened in the past. And it's got an enormous, absolutely enormous IT resources. And AlgoDynamix takes that off your hands. Well, AlgoDynamix does all the number crunching for you, does everything on the cloud, and very simply gives you the alerts. So in our opinion, the market will go up for this instrument in 3 days' time, 5 days' time, and allow you to have that decision. And that is incredibly powerful.
It is incredibly powerful. Jeremy, you hinted there that, you know, this is just one example, right? That we have.
Absolutely. So let's give some more examples. Yeah, so let's just go to the different Asian markets here. So this is on the Nikkei, also sort of somewhat recently. Now, not as big, not as impressive as the gold move, but I think once again that sort of gives you the real insights, because if it's not moving, it's not moving. So it's a very sort of factual, information-based thing. So same idea, by the way, with the Nikkei index here. So you get the up flag, you get a few days to sort of decide what you want to do, possibly a better pricing too, and then waiting for the end flag. Same idea. You get a bit of time, and you get a few days to decide what you want to do, basically. So this is on the Nikkei example. And as I said, many other examples across equities, commodities, fixed income, foreign exchange, listed derivatives, pretty much every single asset class. And then, we have big time Asia connectivity. There's a lot of trading going on all over the place there. So very, very exciting times.
Yeah. Okay. So, and can I just say that there is a chat box running. So if you do have questions, do send them in. And we've got one from Shang Ong. What are AlgoDynamix' competitive advantage? What type of data do you use, and the decision making behind the indicators? So, I mean, we're not going to get into the technicalities of how the algorithm works here, but I also want to connect that question to something that happened today, for example, which is what we got Japan trade numbers. So if we were using AlgoDynamix, it wouldn't really matter whether we were waiting for some sort of, and by the way, lagging indicator on growth. Actually, we would already have an idea that something was about to happen in any case.
Absolutely, Manisha. It's just, as I said, it's monitoring in real time what everybody else is doing. We're not going to get too technical today, but, as I said, it really comes down to sort of, not looking at the past data, just looking at what everybody else is doing in real time. And that's what we're doing here at AlgoDynamix. So that's the short answer about how we're doing it. And as Paul mentioned again, to reiterate, we take care of everything. We do all the number crunching, we do all the IT, and we provide you with the information, with the end result, as shown on this chart, for instance. That's what we do.
Yeah, so Paul, we've already talked about how this is very new then for Asia. What is your core message for customers in terms of the potential uses and the potential benefits of AlgoDynamix product here?
So everyone's got a pension fund. Everyone has financial advisor. Everyone is looking at, especially in Asia, everyone's looking where the markets are going. And AlgoDynamix, at the end, will benefit everyone, because if you're a fund manager, if you're a banker, are using the decision points from AlgoDynamix and saying, should I invest, should I not invest, based on the real-time behavioral data, that will benefit the public. And that's where we're getting to. With digitization in Asia, very big all over Asia, the countries which are emerging in technology and leapfrogging other countries, and they want the real-time behavioral analytics, and that's what we're giving them. We're giving them the opportunity to make better decisions. And if we're giving your fund manager, your bankers, the opportunity, you're going to get a better life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are, we've got the slide up here where we actually go through in a bit more detail how this can be of benefit. What are the sort of conversations that you're having with people at the moment? I know it's early days, but what's been some of the feedback so far, Paul?
Very, very exciting from a lot of the innovation labs, a lot of the wealth managers, hedge funds, private bankers, family offices, treasury of the corporates. We're talking to everyone in corporate and the financial sector. And I've been amazed on the discussions which we've been having, the insights which they're coming up with, what they want us to do with it. And it's not only on their decision making, they're thinking ahead. They're saying, how can we drive the AlgoDynamix to our clients? How can we take the decision points, our decision point, and use that for a better client engagement, a better user experience in the financial markets? And as a lot of banks are saying, we do want to engage our clients, but we don't know how. How do you explain complicated finance simply to our clients? And AlgoDynamix, we're working with some people, and they're using AlgoDynamix to simply explain that this is happening. you've got a time to make a decision, come back to me with the decision. So it's informed consent, let's say.
One of the biggest concerns always for onboarding any new technology or onboarding any new platform or any new service is always cost, isn't it? Obviously, you would have done your research and you understand that playground here in Asia. What is it that you've been learning? Is that going to be a challenge here, or do you think actually this is a much better opportunity than the alternatives, Paul?
It's definitely a much better opportunity because with AlgoDynamix, we can onboard you in 24 hours. So as soon as you give us your instrument list, we will onboard you within 24 hours and you can start getting the benefits of all the analytics from AlgoDynamix. It's that simple. We've talked to our clients, we've looked at the market, and instead of taking 8, 10, 15 months to collect data, to start analyzing it, we get AlgoDynamix 24 hours. We deliver the indicators, alerts. We can deliver them on the web. We can deliver them in email and optional APIs.
Yeah, and we had a slide just then on the various ways that clients are notified. Here we can have a look at some of the clients that you've onboarded and the impact it's had for them. Jeremy, obviously you've been up and running in Europe, the UK for a while. What's been some of your experience? What has been the customer feedback? And based on that, we can extrapolate what the customer experience would be here in Asia too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I was doing proposals again, actually, before the call, actually. So we are sort of growing very fast in other parts of the world too, actually. So a very good positive experience. And I think just reiterating the messages from Paul before, you know, it's about enhancing that customer experience or helping the customer's customers to have a better experience. So I think that's part of that one, really. And then, I mean, as I said, you know, we've been growing quite aggressively, especially in the last few years now, and good feedback. And then the product iterations, the innovations have been entirely based on the customer feedback, really. So so that's another. And I think just to reiterate, you know, what we've been developing over the years, we found it, especially with some of the larger banking clients, they want simplicity. Paul mentioned it, you know, you can have it within 24 hours. So, you know, the quickest and easiest way to set up is just, you know, you get an email alert, you get an email notification. These are timestamped, authenticated emails. They'll just tell you what we're seeing in terms of the flags. And that's the first level. There's a web interface. And then, you know, eventually, Paul alluded to it, there's an API, so they can do the whole integration. But, you know, we have a stepwise approach to get our customers up and running very quickly. And this is, you know, based on the years of feedback we've had about how to do things and how to do things quickly and efficiency, and, you know, how to provide our clients with a true value add benefit. So it's been very good. And as I said, once again, very enthusiastic looking at the whole Asia market, just seeing how things are developed. And, you know, Paul already made it clear in the few months he's been operating there, I think, in terms of feedback and everything else. So really, really exciting times there.
Yeah, very much. Was there a particular segment in the UK, for example, that you saw uptake being particularly strong?
UK's been okay. I think US has been very strong in terms of family offices and hedge funds. Investment banking, they take a bit longer. So, you know, across the segments. And I think the previous slide, I'll just come back to that. You know, so depending where you are, you know, it could be asset management, it could be sell side trading, it could be corporate treasuries. You know, we've got clear benefits for all of these segments. So, you know, depending on the use case. And then some large organizations, we end up in multiple business units, you know, depending on what they want to do. So as I said, you know, across the board, really. And I think, you know, it's quite a universal product in that sense, right? You know, it's directional forecasting. And I think we just leave it to our clients to sort of integrate it within their business processes and to make the most of analytics.
Yeah, Paul, of course, family offices, very big here in Asia. So that's one point that we can pick up on. And the other one is, you earlier said that the first client was here in Asia. What was the story?
I wasn't on board at that time, so I'll leave that one to Jeremy.
I'll cover that one, actually. First, I hate to say, actually, it goes back to our sort of connections here in Cambridge. We're all graduates from University of Cambridge, so there was a alumni community, a family office. It was a family office back then.
So it was a family office. Okay.
It was as you said, Manisha, there's lots of family offices. You know, lovely place. So that was our first with the Cambridge connections. That was all very good, actually. So that was our first one.
And I'm sure, Paul, the family office, that's a big growth area for you here in Asia.
Yes, we're talking to several family offices. Very, very exciting. We're talking to corporates, their treasury, not to be overlooked. We're talking to lots of providers of robo software.
Yeah.
I can't go into all of them, but and what excites me as well, we're talking to innovation labs all over, all the banks' innovation labs.
Interesting.
And as I said, that's to drive their usability and their engagement with their clients.
Yep.
Very exciting.
Yeah, very, very exciting. You have such interesting experience, Paul. I wonder, how will the Asian side of AlgoDynamix be different to what's come before?
It's very, very different on the Asian side. Asia moves a lot faster. It's a lot more digital. It's really hard to explain all the calls which I'm getting about AlgoDynamix. So traditionally, you would talk to people, you go through a big process cycle. In Asia, everyone wants something yesterday. And one of the advantages in Asia is that, and I would say that to everyone, in Europe and America, very hard to sell an idea. AlgoDynamix is up, it's working, it's ready to go. And in 24 hours, you can have it up, you can be using it, and you can get the benefit. And I think that's the biggest difference in Asia. And AlgoDynamix is on the cloud, so you don't have to worry about any IT, as I told you. You don't have to worry about getting the data. It's just straight there, and that is so amazing. And people want to do things quickly in Asia. Asia is so impatient, and that's really driving the financial industry in Asia.
Yeah, actually, we have a great question here from John, and I think this is sort of one of those unspoken questions that's now going to get a voice. Without going into the model details, what can I do to get comfortable with what is doing beyond just receiving a list of historical alerts? What's available by way of back testing, data sets, and that sort of thing? And I think this is a really important question, because what you're asking people to do is embrace an entirely new idea that they're not used to, and have trust in you that it will work for them. Jeremy, do you want to perhaps respond to that one?
Good question from John, actually, and let's address this head on, because it's a really important one. So just to get a tiny bit more technical, so the data is real time, so we are taking real time from all the exchanges. We take care of all that, and as I said, we're looking at what everybody else is doing. It's behavioral, and that's essentially what we're providing. So when you get one of these directional insights, the up flag or the down flag, the end flag, it's because we have spotted something at the exchange level. So we have detected an anomaly. We have detected the fact that everybody is behaving in the same way. And that's what generates these flags. That's what generates these big movements. It's the fact that, we are building up to a herd mentality. So that's what's happening. And then, we do spend a lot of time with our clients just to explain how we do it. We're pretty open about it, about the technology, what's going on, how do we actually cluster and everything else. But, it is that. It's real-time observation of what people are doing. And then just a slightly more technical, Manisha, but I think it's important for John's question. It's not model-based, because I think there's some other slides about, because the moment you build a model, essentially you have some flawed assumptions about what you think the markets are. This is just real-time behavior. It's just observing everybody else. So it's very robust in that sense. Like, well, what could go wrong? Well, nothing, because it's not even a model. So it's goes back to our academic years in Cambridge, Manisha. It's like, well, how do you create something robust? And the answer is, well, do not build anything with any assumptions. The moment you've built any assumptions, you've got a problem. And there's a slightly topical today, because we're all sitting here from our homes about speaking about COVID, essentially. COVID is something that we've never seen before. And, had you been using traditional, old school, dare I say, stuff Paul was working on previously, if you'd been using old technology, it would have not worked, because we've never seen a COVID situation. And I think that's an important one on that one. So, we've never seen it before. So, and then, you've seen it from the previous slides, and you've seen it from other analytics we can happily provide. COVID is really, once again, demonstrated that we do not need historical data. That regardless of the economic situations, of the market conditions, we'll observe, we'll get it right, we'll provide you those valuable insights. So that's the
And
difference.
of course,
Yeah.
during the outbreak of this pandemic, when we look at, let's just take, for example, the VIX index, and they call this, colloquially, it's named as the fear index, but we've just seen so much volatility in the VIX, and often that's brought up, particularly in the news headlines when we talk about volatility at the moment. If we were all embracing technology, the kind of technology that AlgoDynamix is offering, would we actually have a far less volatile experience?
Gosh, that's a really good question, actually, Manisha.
Have I stumped you?
Yeah. Well, I can't say too much about some of our larger client projects, but they end up with portfolios that are very low volatile portfolios. So absolutely, Manisha, that is the answer. You want to create long-term sustainable. I think Paul mentioned robo-advisory or pension. If you want to reduce your volatility and better returns, this is your answer. So absolutely, Manisha, this is it. Yeah. So.
Okay.
The alerts which AlgoDynamix give allow the managers to make the decisions. So we're not moving the market. It's the traders, it's the managers, it's the hedge funds which will still move the market, but they will be basing their decisions on the foresight which AlgoDynamix. So they will be getting a lot better foresight, and that's what AlgoDynamix gives them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if they are going to move in the same way, there will be volatility, but for their clients, there will be better returns.
Absolutely.
Which I'm sure a lot of clients like the sound of. Paul, as we come into the last few minutes of our webinar, let's just talk about what your plans are and the future here in Asia.
Yes, so I'll start from the team in Asia. So we've got an amazingly strong team. I'm so proud to be working with a team of people who were CXOs, people who were bankers, people who were corporate board members. Absolutely fantastic. And where I want to get to in Asia is that everyone in Asia will go to their banker, will go to their fund manager, will go to their wealth manager and say, you're advising me to do this. Did you make that decision using data from AlgoDynamix? So that's,
and then how would
that would look good to me. That's what good looks like to me.
That's what, okay, excellent. So how would anyone, for example, listening to this webinar right now, if they wanted to engage AlgoDynamix, how would they do it?
So all our contact numbers are on the website. Everyone who's on this webinar who's given us half an hour of their time, thank you very much. We will be reaching out personally to you with a deck and a video of this. So we'll come to you. Word of mouth is fantastic. We always like running businesses where we get recommendations and everyone's saying, wow, I did this with AlgoDynamix, I did this with Paul, I did it with his team. You have to come in and do it. So website, word of mouth, and us reaching out to you.
Okay, well, we've got about 2.5 minutes left, gents. I thought it'd be nice if you just were able to wrap up your thoughts. Jeremy, would you want to go first?
Delighted to be here, delighted to be on the webinar, and thank you, Manisha and Paul, for organising this one. So we're looking forward to a very bright future in Asia. So please do reach out to Paul. He's got your contact details and he'll follow up with the slides. So thank you again.
And Paul, what about you? Any key messages that you want to share before we sign off?
Yes, remember that AlgoDynamix is reimagining. Everyone talks about reimagining. I've worked in several banks here and we're all reimagining, but AlgoDynamix is absolutely reimagining and it's doing it. It's absolutely wonderful. And let me finish by saying thank you so much, Manisha. It's been an absolute delight to have you on the show. And also, I know you've got a fantastic team behind you. So we will be delivering you some flowers.
Oh. Nice, Paul.
That's very, very kind. That's very, very kind. Thank you for that, Paul, and thank you, Jeremy, as well. And I want to say thanks as well to everyone watching. I know that we have a great turnout today. And to those of you who've sent in your questions, great questions. John, thank you very much for that. Your question was voted up by some of our other attendees as well. Some of you telling us that the chat's been very interesting, and many words of thanks. A reminder that you can get in touch with Paul. His photo is there, and I think, Paul, you can be reached on social media channels as well. Yes. So I just want to sum up by saying thank you very much for having me. It's been great working with you, and good luck with all of your endeavors here.
Okay.